Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and General, thanks to you and your family for your continued commitment to America, and we're very thankful that you have been where you've been coming out of Afghanistan. You're the next in line of a number of great leaders to serve as Commandant, so we look forward to your continued service there. Taking up where Senator King left off on Pakistan, there is no long-term solution in Afghanistan without some sort of cooperation out of Pakistan. Is that a fair statement?
Senator, that's absolutely a fair statement, and one of the critical components of our military campaign is to begin to develop effective military-to-military relationships between the two countries. I couldn't agree more.
I want to ask you about the detainees that were released recently. I understand 12 non-Afghans were released from Part 1. 10 of those were Pakistanis, and they were all returned to their home country. I'm concerned because I know that the serious nature of the alleged incidents that these prisoners were accused of, and we've got 38 more non-Afghans, I understand. Can you address why these 12 were released, and what's our long-term policy with Afghanistan regarding non-Afghan prisoners at Part 1?
Thanks, Senator. I can. And first, with regard to the 10 that were sent to Pakistan, we didn't release those individuals. We turned them over to Pakistan after the U.S. State Department got assurances from Pakistan that they would be properly handled in accordance with the nature of the crimes that they committed. We have 38 third-country nationals right now, and a similar process takes place where the State Department deals with the nation from which these individuals come, gains assurances, and then the Deputy Secretary of Defense will sign an authorization for them to be released, and after notifying Congress. The challenge with this issue, Senator, is that our authority to hold these individuals will expire on the 31st of December of 2014. So we're working very hard now to ensure that we properly transition these individuals to a place where they can be held accountable for, again, the acts that they've committed.
And do you have confidence that the Afghans are going to treat them in the way that they should be treated because of the acts they've committed?
Senator, we're not planning at this time to turn them over to Afghanistan. We have a plan to turn them over to the countries from which they originated. My sense is that if we were to turn them over to Afghanistan today, I couldn't guarantee you that they would be properly handled.
I want to again take off on something Senator McCain asked you about. We had General Campbell in the other day to talk about continuing operations in Afghanistan, and with the drawdown to the 9,800 this year, drawing down again next year, give me your view as to the long-term situation as you understand it right now as we head into the end of 14 through 15 and more importantly into 16. What's your understanding of how this is going to work?
Yes, Senator, with regard to developing sustainable Afghan security forces, I think the pace of withdrawal right now could result in Afghan forces being sustainable. And I'm comfortable that a regional approach to train, advise, assist in 2015, where we help mature the institutions, the processes and systems that allow the ministerial level organization to support tactical level organizations, the work that needs to be done can be done in 2015. I'm also confident that there's some work that will require a longer period of time, but much of that work can be done in Kabul inside the ministries. The issue that I really can't talk to you about with any degree of confidence is what the threat to the homeland might be after 2016. That's certainly an area where I think the assumptions and the conditions that informed our current decision would have to be evaluated over time.
And in that respect, if you had to rate the possibility of either al-Qaeda or al-Qaeda affiliated operators inside of Afghanistan or migrating to Afghanistan as we draw down and resuming training operations much like we saw before 9/11, what degree would you rate the possibility of that taking place?
Senator, I can assure you from what we see on a day-to-day basis and from the intelligence that there are individuals in both Afghanistan and Pakistan who are determined to attack the homeland. They're determined to replicate acts like 9/11, and the pressure that we have placed on those networks over the past decade is the reason they haven't been able to execute a 9/11. So I would say that the risk, without continued pressure on those networks, of them regenerating and attacking the homeland would be significant.
Is the Haqqani network still enemy number one?
Well, Senator, I would view al-Qaeda as enemy number one. Haqqani is certainly the most virulent strain of the insurgency in Afghanistan and presents the greatest risk to the force because of their emphasis on high-profile attacks. The other thing that's significant about the Haqqani network is they actually provide the network that allows al-Qaeda in the region to have sanctuary and continue to resource itself. They're certainly, if not the most important group to the sustainability of al-Qaeda. They are certainly one of the most significant groups that allows al-Qaeda to sustain itself in the South Asia region.
Talk for a minute about the morale of American soldiers in Afghanistan now. What's your thought?
Senator, I am, and I mean this sincerely, extraordinarily honored to have the opportunity to lead the men and women that are in Afghanistan today. And their morale after 13 years of war has met or exceeded anybody's expectations over time. They're focused on what they're doing. They believe in what they're doing. They trust themselves. They know they're well-trained and they're well-equipped, and they trust their leadership. So I would assess the morale of the forces in Afghanistan today, and frankly in the force as a whole, as something we can all be very proud of.
48th Brigade of the Georgia National Guard is charged with basically tearing down Camp Phoenix. I visited them when they got there, and they were fired up about the job that you had given to them to do that, and I trust they're doing well.
Senator, they are, and as you know, the job we gave them to do is one of the more difficult jobs that needs to be done over this next year. It's a piece of infrastructure at Camp Phoenix that they're down at that we want to close. Closing a base is a challenging task, but they have taken that on with enthusiasm, and they're doing a superb job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for your leadership, General.
Thank you, Senator Chambliss. Senator Hagan.